can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. It's too easy. It's too easy. I've been there, done it, seen it. Boy, all that like Keenan. Still got crack, they fiendin'. Flow still hot like Phoenix. Shine so bright, I'm gleaming. This off top, I'm tweaking. Fresh out the rat like me. And I'm still tryna fight my demons. Cause we all gotta act like Tina. That's why I gotta ride with the Nina. Outside, it's a war going on. Maybe put my hands on my head like the Macarena. They want you walking on board like Kima. Ain't give a F to you like John Cena. Putting blood on the brand new Beamer. Tryna earn they stripes like Adidas. You get cold when you ride with the heater. It'll turn you to a dog like a Keto. And expose to a cat like a cheetah. They smoke my partner like reefer. Dímelo porque yo no entiendo. Mi gente must really need Jesus. They shed real blood. I never seen the crypt and I believe it. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed. It's too easy. Too easy. I can do this with my eyes closed.
Welcome in, episode 130 of the WAG Show. I'm your host, Ben Hustler. It is Friday, January 12th. We are here to talk NFL DFS top plays for the wildcard weekend, NFL best bets for wildcard weekend. We've got NBA tonight. We have college basketball tonight, all that good stuff. So if you guys are tuning in, let me know in the chat. Yesterday was a great day. Had some success betting college basketball. And also hit first round leader in the golf tournament. Had Cam Davis 55-1, $15 into 840. So that was a big win there. And I'm excited for this weekend of football. So I have DraftKings pulled up on the screen here, similar to how I do on the cash process. I'm going to go through the slate. If you guys aren't tuning into this live, or if you tune into it late, you can always go back and rewatch. And I'm going to go game by game. So I have the 6-game slate pulled up just so that I can talk about all the games. I'm going to be playing the 6-game slate. I'm going to play the 2-game slate tomorrow. I'm going to play the 3-game slate on Sunday. I'm going to play Showdown. Also, I'm supposed to have some bad weather coming in here. So hopefully the quality of the stream is okay. Hopefully my power doesn't go out while we're on here, but apparently there's supposed to be some bad weather coming. I just wanted to bring that up. But I have the 6-game pulled up here just so I can go through all the games. And we can go ahead and dive in here. So we're going to start off, like I said, game by game. We're going to go Cleveland, Houston first. This game is a 2-point spread in favor of the Browns. It is a 44.5 total in Houston. It should be a fun game. 44.5 is one of the higher totals on the playoff slate. It's the third highest total behind Green Bay, Dallas, and Rams, Lions. So we can expect some points to be scored here. If you guys have tuned in to recent content, you already have Peacock? I do have Peacock, yes. I have Peacock because Peacock has a lot of the soccer games, and you guys know I like to bet on watch soccer. So Peacock's actually really useful to have. It's $5 or whatever a month, and they have like a ton of English Premier League soccer games on there. So I actually think Peacock is a good thing to have if you like to watch soccer. But anyways, expect some points to be scored here. I've noted this a few times recently, but if you look at the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, PJ Walker at quarterback, they were one of the most run-heavy teams in football. They were outside like the top 20 in neutral pass rate. They were very, very conservative on offense. They relied on their defense, and they just tried to grind teams out. That's kind of how they played. Since they've made the switch to Joe Flacco, they are the number 1 neutral pass rate team in football. Kevin Stefanski has a quarterback he's confident in, and he has been letting him rip the ball. They've been throwing the ball all over the place. I don't expect that to change here in the playoffs. I think they're going to be very, very pass heavy. Browns have also been a very, very good opening script team. This is something I know just from watching Browns games, but even dating back to past few years when they weren't as great, they've always been very good opening script. Kevin Stefanski is one of the best opening script coaches in football. So I think you could look at a potential first quarter bet here, or first half bet. I'm trying to see first quarter. Yeah, you can get the Browns money line for the first quarter at 112. You can get them minus half a point. So basically to be up by a point at the end of the first quarter at plus 142. I like that given how good the Browns are opening script. That's something we can consider. But in terms of DFS, I think there's going to be a lot of good plays here. I think that there's some viability to using Joe Flacco here for sure. I think that both Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore would crack my player pool here. Don't know how interested I am in the Browns running backs just because they play three guys. Like they do play Jerome Ford, Kareem Hunt, Pierre Strong. Kareem Hunt is the best bet to score a touchdown of those three because he mixes in the red zone so much. He had a ton of rushing touchdowns this year. So that's a little bit tougher sell for me. Jerome Ford could get there if he catches a few long passes, but I mainly want to look at the passing game here on both sides. And I like the Browns' weapons. I like Joe Flacco. Definitely in play for me here. On the Houston side, don't know if I want to use Stroud. Mitchell, what's up? But definitely interested in some of the weapons here. Devin Singletary's popping as the highest projected owned running back on the slate, so he's going to be an option if you're playing cash games. And then you also have Nico Collins there with no Tank Dell. He's been very good. He's also been very good in Houston and indoors compared to outside. So Nico Collins sets up good here. Should be matched up with a banged up Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward's going to play, but it looks like he might be a little banged up. So you can look at Nico Collins here, and you can look at Dalton Schultz as well. So all of the Houston main weapons, Singletary, Schultz, Collins, all are in play for me. On the opposite side, Joe Flacco, high up on my list. Amari Cooper, Elijah Moore, David Njoku, all in play for me as well. I could definitely see on this 6-game slate going 2 tight end builds, Njoku and Schultz, Njoku and Jake Ferguson, Schultz and Ferguson. You also have Goddard on Monday night. There's several strong tight end options. That's not even including Travis Kelce. So definitely could see some 2 tight end builds coming in play in the 6-game slate. But this is one of the better games on the slate. First one, I do think there'll be some offense here, and I'm going to want multiple pieces from this game probably in my lineup. I'm also playing around. I might 150 max the 6-game slate. I don't normally 150 max. If you guys follow me, you know that I stick to small field contests, but it's playoffs. It's fun. I might 150 max the 6-gamer. So if I do that, I'll post my ownership percentages of the players that I have in our Discord if I decide to do that. All right, let's move on to the next game, which is the Miami Dolphins in Kansas City. This is a weather game, if you guys have been following. And look, I don't know this guy personally. I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm friends with a lot of people at Underdog. I've met a lot of people that work for Underdog high up. Very good people, very good company. I don't know Hayden Winks personally, but this dude tweeted, and I don't normally call people out. You guys know this if you watch this, but this guy tweeting, at what point does the NFL change the location of this game because it's going to be cold? I mean, that was the most absurd thing that I've seen. Like, what is that guy talking about? There was like colder games than that last season, I'm pretty sure. I don't even think like I don't know if this guy's out of touch with reality, but I mean, if you're talking about the fans are going to be cold and it's dangerous for them, maybe. They have giant heaters on the sidelines. The players are sitting in front of heaters on the sidelines. 60 years ago, they didn't have giant heaters on the sideline, and they played in games colder than this. I don't understand the logic of why should the game be moved. That's part of the Chiefs having home field advantage. If the Dolphins didn't want to go play in a cold weather game, they could have beat the Bills last week and got a home playoff game. Like, I couldn't believe this when I saw this. Like, and people were like agreeing with him. I don't know if maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. I thought this was the most absurd thing I've ever seen, that somebody thought that this game should be moved. Regardless, this is one of the weather games. 44 total. Chiefs favored by 4.5 points here. Juice on the Chiefs as well. I don't know what to do with this. Chiefs offense hasn't been great this season. Dolphins defense hasn't been great against actual teams. Also, I do think it'll skew more towards the run games here. I don't have much faith in Tua, so I'm not going to be playing like if I 150 max this, I won't have a ton of Tua and Dolphins passing game. I don't know how much Chiefs I have either. I think Pacheco is a really good play. I mean, you could put, Rashee Rice and Kelsey in your pool, but for me personally, I like Pacheco, I like KCD, and if you want to play around with the Dolphins running backs, I mean, you have Mostert and HN right there, 68, 6,700. Running games look good here, and the defenses don't have a ton of interest outside of that in this game. Maybe mix in some Rashee Rice or some Kelsey, but if I'm playing one team, I don't know what I'll have there outside of maybe a running back. Probably not high up on my list, although I will say, the total's 44. It's not like Buffalo, Pittsburgh totals 34, right? That's 10 points lower. So that's a major, major difference. So I don't think just automatically scratching this game off of your player pool is smart. I think that there could be some potential for some plays here. Maybe people want to play Tyreek. He wasn't popping super high on the ownership that I saw. You can maybe look at someone like Justin Watson in a large field tournament as a pivot off of some of the other cheaper guys. But I think Pacheco's a really good play. I think maybe one of the Dolphins running backs could be a good play, but that's about it for me. But I do want to note that total is 44, so it's not as extreme as the next game that we're going to talk about. So we can just move over to that game. Pittsburgh Buffalo, like I said, total's 34 on this game. It's dropping like crazy. There's juice on the under. It's probably going to go lower by the time the game starts. Looks like snow, looks like high winds. KC, it looks like it's just going to be cold with like moderate winds. Buffalo looks like high winds, potential snow, like actual stuff that we want to avoid, hence why the total's 10 points lower. So this game's less attractive from a DFS perspective than the Miami-Kansas City game, although the Bills are the most attractive teams of all those teams, in my opinion. So it's kind of a decision that we have to make. Josh Allen, I think, is going to be super low owned. So if you're playing the 6-game slate, there is potential for Josh Allen to like run 2 touchdowns in. So I think he would crack my pool. It's just he's going to be farther down the list for me, but he's an interesting play if he's going to be pretty much unowned. James Cook is not projecting super well for his price compared to some of the other guys around him, so maybe you could look at some James Cook in tournaments. And then receiver Diggs, I mean, there's just no way I can play Diggs over someone like CeeDee Lamb or Amon-Ra St. Brown or even the Rams guys on this slate, so he's a bit farther down the list for me. And maybe the Buffalo tight ends are interesting here. But the one person I want to bring up is Khalil Shakir. Gabe Davis has been ruled out for the game. Shakir was really popping there for a while when Dalton Kincaid was out. Not Kincaid, when Dawson Knox was out. So we saw Shakir like really popping during that stretch. Then when Knox came back, they went back to a ton of 12 personnel, and that's hurt Shakir. Now, with Davis being out, I do think that helps Shakir. I think he'll get on the field more. He's pretty cheap. But we also have like Demarcus Robinson down there. We have Jameson Williams down there. I think these guys are all low 3K options. So it's not like Shakir's the only cheap receiver that there is and everyone's going to be putting him in. I don't think he's going to be super high owned, but Shakir is in play for me. And I would consider him. Obviously, you can look at the defenses here as well. As far as the Steelers go, not really interested here. It's probably just going to be a run-heavy game plan from them in this weather. They're going to try and dominate time of possession. They're going to try and keep Josh Allen off the field. So probably another big game for Najee Harris, Jaylen Warren, just in terms of, rushing attempts and stuff. But I'm not really interested. I don't know, True Love, if there's anything going on. I mean, they're best friends off the field. It's just tough. It's just a guessing game. Like, we just honestly have no idea. So I don't know. Gabe Davis is out. Help anyone? Just Shakir, I think, mainly. Maybe James Cook, because they have shown the willingness to throw to, the running back. James Cook's really popped off catching the football a few times recently. So, maybe it helps James Cook a little bit, but I just don't know. We just don't know about the weather. We probably won't know till Sunday. So, and I also want to note, if you're playing the 6-game slate, this is like a really, really good slate, obviously, for late swap. It's important to bake in those late swaps. Always can like look at your lineup, see what you can do, move around, see what people ahead of you have. Like, It's the most underutilized part of DFS. So being able to have late swap on a 3-day, 6-game slate like this is very, very important. Can you get WTA and ATP tennis splits up on the live trends page? Matt, I can't control that. I mean, you have to reach out to support or reach out to Travis. Maybe he can work on getting tennis, but I have no control over it. I just work with the tools that they give me. All right, moving on to the next game. We have Green Bay, Dallas. So the next 2 games we're going to talk about are the best games on the slate. Green Bay, Dallas. In Dallas, Dallas are 7-point favorites. It's a 50.5 total with juice on the over. We know Dallas has been unreal at home this season. They are averaging almost 40 points per game at home. Like, they've just absolutely smashed teams in Dallas. And then on the other side, Green Bay's looked okay. Who do I ask for that? Travis, if you're in the Discord, reach out to Travis or email support, and they might be able to help you out. Green Bay's looked competent on offense the last few weeks as well. And I think there's going to be some points to be scored here. I think Dak Prescott's definitely in play. CeeDee Lamb is definitely in play, one of the top options on the slate. I think Tony Pollard's in play. There's a big group of mid-tier running backs here with Singletary, Pollard, Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Jahmyr Gibbs. Like, a lot of those guys are strong plays. So picking, but the right running backs out of that group is going to be important. You also have Jake Ferguson. So very, very interested in the Cowboys here. As far as the Packers go, it looks like Aaron Jones is going to miss the not Aaron Jones. It looks like A.J. Dillon's going to miss this game, which helps out Aaron Jones. So that bumps up Aaron Jones, my interest a little bit. I also think Jaden Reed's interesting. He's been good all season. Big-time players make big-time plays in big-time games, and this is no bigger game for the Packers here. I expect Jaden Reed to have a game because he's their best receiver. Now, Christian Watson, if he's out and gets confirmed out, I think we could take a look at Bo Melton again for cheap. You also have Wicks, who's been good, but Bo Melton is the cheapest of them. If Watson's out, Melton can go in that tier with Shakir, Jameson Williams, Demarcus Robinson, like cheap guys that we're going to consider. I think in terms of ownership, it will go Robinson will be far and away the highest. Then you'll probably have Jameson Williams, then you'll have Shakir, and then Melton. So that's something to keep in mind if you're playing larger field tournaments. But I do think Robinson in particular is going to be pretty high owned. So any of those other cheaper guys could, be some leverage off of that. But mainly for me in this game, Aaron Jones looks like a really good play at 6,300 with A.J. Dillon out. You could maybe sell me on one of the Packers receivers. And then on the Cowboys side, I'm fine with a full stack here. Dak plus 2 weapons, or even if you don't want to use Dak, I think you can look at, you could have Tony Pollard and Ferguson. You could have Tony Pollard and CeeDee Lamb. Regardless, Cowboys will be a heavy emphasis here. And I really like Aaron Jones with A.J. Dillon out. I think it's more likely that Aaron Jones gets some red zone touches because we've seen a few times, even in recent weeks, Aaron Jones runs him all the way down the field and then they pull him out on the goal line. Should be less likely that it happens. It also opens up some value for the backup running back here. Maybe like Patrick Taylor comes in the fold, but he's, at 4K. I'll wait and see how stuff projects, and we can update that in the Discord. All right, Rams, Lions, probably the most fun game of the weekend, in my opinion. 51.5 over under. Lions are 3-point favorites at home. Matt Stafford going back to Detroit. We have Jared Goff versus former team. Should be plenty of points scored here, and lots of good options. Amon-Ra St. Brown's probably my favorite play on the slate. Really, really like him here at 8K. Think he could just have a monster game. And I like Gibbs too. Gibbs and Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would probably want one of them on my team if I'm just building out from that. I would probably want one of those guys on my team. And then on the opposite side, I want to go heavy on these Rams receivers here. You've been able to throw all over Detroit recently. And as much as I love Kyren Williams, I'm going to be lesser on Kyren Williams on the slate and higher on the receivers. Nakua at 72, Cooper Kupp even at 75, but love those guys. And then Demarcus Robinson for cheap. Like I said, I think Robinson's going to be the highest own receiver on the slate, depending on what contest you play because of his price. So maybe getting up to those expensive Rams guys, maybe that gives you some leverage because I do think Robinson's going to be pretty high owned. And I really want to go heavy on this game of all of them. St. Brown or Gibbs, I want on my team. And then Love the Rams receivers, all three of those guys that I just named. So those are all good plays. We'll wait and see what happens with the Detroit tight end situation. Maybe we get a min price like James Mitchell that we could use, assuming Laporte is out. I think both Goff and Stafford are in play for me. Goff is up there for my favorite quarterback on the slate, I think. And I think David Montgomery is a good large field leverage play as well. He should be significantly lower owned than Gibbs. And that would help you get some leverage. Like maybe you could do a Ram stack with Montgomery on the other side. Hope Montgomery gets 2 close touchdowns and you're kind of off the races. But this is the best game on the slate, in my opinion, given the over-under. Obviously, that's not a secret, but definitely want to build heavy with this game. And then the next game, Philly-Tampa Bay, 3-point spread in favor of the Eagles. It's a 43.5 total. And this is probably the least interesting game to me, to be quite honest with you guys. I mean, other than Pittsburgh-Buffalo, like, I mean, you can throw on Philly, but I just don't trust Baker right now. A.J. Brown's banged up. Jalen Hurts is banged up. We don't even know if A.J. Brown's going to play, so that could be a potential late swap spot if A.J. Brown gets ruled out, like getting onto some Devonta Smith, getting on to more heavier Dallas Goedert. Like that could be a move that I think is good. So maybe that's more reason to save some salary at a tight end or go 2 tight ends. Like if you want to use, Njoku or Schultz in that first game, maybe you can build with Ferguson. And then if we get news that maybe A.J. Brown's going to be out, like we can move some Ferguson over to Dallas Goedert. Like that's something I'd be looking to do. But yeah, I don't know what to make of this game. What is the email to support? So I can't find it. It should be just support@betkarma.com. I'm pretty sure, Matt. DeAndre Swift, I think, is interesting, but I mean, he takes a back seat behind Singletary, Pollard, Pacheco, Aaron Jones, Gibbs. Like that's a long list of, guys that I would have him behind, but I think he's going to be really low owned. So maybe if you're playing 3 max, I'd want some exposure. If you're playing large field, I mean, I don't think he's going to be high owned. So maybe even getting 5, 6, 7% of him, would be overweight. But I'm interested in Swift. Don't really know what else to make of this game. Rashad, I mean, maybe I'm interested in, but I don't love to take running backs against Philly. So the way to go with that would be the passing game, which is Mike Evans or Chris Godwin. So this is my least favorite game overall, though, other than Pittsburgh-Buffalo. I'm just not going to have a ton of exposure here. Goddard is my favorite play from the game. And then if A.J. Brown gets ruled out, like, yeah, I really want to get aggressive with Goddard. I'll be playing a lot of Dallas Goedert if that was the case. But I would like to build some teams with Goddard in there anyways, just in case. Mike, what's up? But yeah, I really like Goddard in this game, especially if A.J. Brown misses, like I said. Let's see what this blurb says. I haven't even researched this. Still didn't practice Friday. Hasn't logged any on-field work since injuring his knee is a bad sign, in my opinion. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I think I'm going to be pretty heavy on Dallas Goedert here. AJ hasn't practiced there, so yeah. I like Dallas Goedert a lot on this slate. And if I do 150, I'm going to try and go heavy on him, I think. Do you like White? White's fine, yeah. I just don't love taking backs against Philly. Like, if I'm going to take someone on Tampa, I'd want it to be a receiver. I just don't trust, like, Baker right now. I mean, he hasn't thrown a touchdown in 2 weeks. They put up 9 points on the Panthers. I said this multiple times this week. If the Eagles were playing any other team, I'd probably be betting against the Eagles. But I just don't like this Tampa team. I don't think they're good. So I think Philly can get by. I'd be much more worried if Philly was playing New Orleans this week. I'd be going heavy on like Olave and stuff like that. But they just got lucky that they're playing Tampa, and I still think they can win even with how bad they've been playing. So overall, Goddard, my favorite play from the game. Swift, kind of interesting. Mike Evans, kind of interesting. All right, that about does it for the DFS breakdown. Like I said, if you guys join late or if you're watching this on replay, you can watch it on replay. Just go on YouTube, click the video, and it'll be on there. Favorite overall plays / building blocks for me. I want one of St. Brown or Gibbs on my teams that I make. So I'm probably, if I 150, I'm going to make a rule. I think I want one of them. on my teams. Quarterbacks, Dak, Goff, Flacco, probably in that order, or maybe Goff, Dak, Flacco, something along those lines. That'd be my order there. I want to focus on that same running back tier there with Singletary, Pacheco, Pollard, Aaron Jones, Gibbs. Like that's the running backs I want to focus on in that pool. Receiver, I think D-Rob's going to be the highest owned receiver. So pivoting to any other cheap option is going to get you a little bit different. Maybe pivot off him, play a different cheap guy, get up to one of the Rams guys in Nakua or Cup is something we could look at doing. I like Elijah Moore. I like Amari Cooper. I like Josh Reynolds. I like as well. I like Josh Reynolds as a pivot off of Williams if Jameson's going to be higher owned. And then, like I said, at tight end, Njoku, Ferguson, Schultz, probably in that order, but contingent on what happens with A.J. Brown. Goddard is – I'm going to play heavier on Goddard, and then we'll see what happens. But I could end up with a ton of Dallas Goedert, so I like Goddard as well. Thank you guys for tuning in for that. Appreciate it. We are going to talk a little NBA and college basketball here before we head out. If you guys have questions on anything, you can go ahead and ask. I'm going to put an article up as well for the NFL slate, hopefully later today as well. But not a lot of college basketball spots I like today, honestly. This is a pretty bad Friday slate, I would say. The one spot that sticks out to me, Dayton at Duquesne. You have Duquesne as a 1-point favorite. They're minus 118 on the money line. Dayton is a better team than Duquesne. Dayton's been hot. Duquesne has not really been hot. So I think it's telling that Duquesne at home here's 1-point favorites. I like Duquesne in that game. I've seen people on both sides of it on Twitter and stuff, but I like Duquesne tonight. And I also like Iowa. I lied. There's 2 spots I like. I also like Iowa tonight against Nebraska. Nebraska's been playing really, really good basketball lately. They just knocked off Purdue, and now they got to go on the road to Iowa and play a decent Hawkeyes team. But, it's on the road in the Big Ten. It's never easy to win, and they're coming off. Like it has to be a letdown spot after you just knocked off the number 1 team in the country. So I do like Iowa tonight as well, in addition to Duquesne. That's my spots on college basketball. NBA, I took Jokic over 20.5 rebounds plus assists. It looks like a chalky pick. I've seen other people on this as well, but if you guys know me, typically when I bet on the NBA, I bet on Nikola Jokic. Like to bet him at home. He also plays the Pelicans tonight. If you guys know, he has a very strong history against Jonas Valanciunas. Like he's really ate the Pelicans up in recent seasons. So I do think it's a good spot for Joker tonight. Overall, thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, there's supposed to be some weather going on. So hopefully you guys stay safe. Enjoy the weekend. Hopefully you guys make some money. Good luck this weekend. And I'll see you guys on Monday.